I had the chance to learn directly from millionaires, and these are the 4 lessons that completely transform my life and business. In this video, I'm going to share for you all the 4 biggest lessons I learned having to pay hundreds of thousands of pounds of my own hard-earned money to those mentors so you can take them, learn and grow and drive the success in your coaching business today. So just to summarize, in this video, I'll break down the exact 4 biggest lessons I learned from having worked one-to-one with millionaire mentors. I'll show you exactly how to apply these lessons to your coaching business so you can succeed in the online coaching space as well. And stick around because lesson number 3 in particular personally hit me like a punch in the face. Right, so let's dive into it. I'll journal and I'll write through some stuff as well, so I'll share my screen and talk you through it. Lesson number 1 is ultimately this, is that the following, right? So speed ultimately beats perfection. So many times, myself included, it's so tempting. One of the most tempting things in the world is to procrastinate, is to wait until you have things absolutely perfect, to have the perfect backdrop, to have the perfect content, have the perfect camera, have all of these things perfect, have the perfect business plan. But here's the biggest myth, and here's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this lesson, in this video, is that ultimately perfection doesn't exist. Perfection is a myth. It's a contract created completely in the mind. And if you're constantly waiting for the perfect time to start, that perfect time, spoiler alert, it's never going to come around. So if you're constantly waiting for the perfect time to start, the perfect business plan, the perfect opportunity, the perfect vehicle, wherever it might be, to drive and build your coaching business, you're just going to be waiting for a time that's never going to come around. And let's face it, myself and probably you right now know of these people. You know, I've been there. I've been when I was younger, when I was 18, 19, so many years ago, nearly a decade ago now, when I was going to nightclubs, when I was going out partying, I'd go to these social kind of occasions. I'd go to a nightclub and there would always be this one drunk guy in his 40s there that would tell you these stories about the perfect business plan that he's created, the perfect time he's been waiting on, the perfect strategy. He's been doing that for the last 20 years. And the reality is his life is still a mess and he's still not moving forward. He's not driving, he's not succeeding because he's waiting for perfection. And the reality is perfection doesn't come around. Having worked with mentors, one of the biggest things I realized from those guys is that they're just so quick to take action. They're so quick to take aggressive action with driving their business forward. Like, there's been multiple times where I would just, meet them for coffee, go film a podcast, whatever it might be, and we'll just kind of speak about an idea, or he'll have a member of his team WhatsApp him something, or like send him a message on Slack, and then he'll hear that voice note, he'll hear that thing, and he'll be like, okay, I'll do it right away. So one of the biggest things is realizing that perfection simply doesn't exist, and if you're always waiting for that, you're just going to be holding yourself back and never going to move forward, and you're never ultimately going to succeed at the pace and at the level you want with your business, right? That's the first biggest lesson. Lesson number 2 is the following, is that money loves clarity. And what I mean by this is the following. There's hundreds, thousands of different ways that you can make money. There's thousands of different ways you can get leads, you can book sales calls, you can not book sales calls. There's literally hundreds of different ways to do this. And millionaires know this. And when they know there's thousands of different ways they can make money, they get super clear on just one strategy or one core focus for their business, and one core thing that's going to allow them to succeed. And because they have this clarity, it means that they can work with so many more people, they can have such a bigger impact, and they can make so much more money as a byproduct. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make, and funnily enough, I see coaches and clients first come into me inside a program that they make as a mistake, is that they are trying to not leave money on the table. They're trying to do everything, right? They're trying to coach clients one-to-one. They're trying to coach clients in the gym. Someone's paying them to do some weird graphic designs. Also, they're having people just offer them different stuff, and they're trying to almost take everything and not leave any money on the table. And the reality is this: it's actually simple. It's physically impossible. If you want to drive, if you want to succeed, it's okay to leave money on the table. It's okay that if you are a coach, there's probably going to be certain types of people you don't enjoy working with. There's probably certain tasks inside your business long term you're not going to want to be doing, right? So one of the biggest things you can do is just obsess over those two things, right? Obsess over who's that you want to work with and what's the type of business you actually want to build. Make sure this is logical, make sure this makes sense and is actually sound, and it can work. But once you know those fundamentals do work, just obsess on that one vision, that one mission, and just go all in on it. If you're trying to do 100 million different things at once, you're just going to get distracted. You're going to try and do everything, and the reality is no one can do everything, so you're going to lose, right? So one of the biggest things we can learn from these guys is to just be the master of one core thing, because that's the fastest and easiest way to succeed in the online coaching space. So a big takeaway for coaches listening to this is the following, right? One, get clear on the type of person you want to work with. Two, get clear on the channel of how you're going to, like 2 to 3 big tasks you're going to do every single day to drive the success of your coaching business forward. For a lot of our clients, this looks like this. One is posting Instagram content that really connects with that person. And the second thing is taking that audience from Instagram and getting them to raise their hand and go into the DMs to inquire about coaching. We do that with strategic content, and it's just 2 big focuses. One is Instagram content, and 2 is content to turn those leads and followers into sales and DMs on the back end, right? That's usually the 2 big tasks we work with coaches when we first start. This drives the success forward in their business, and then down the line, then you can reinvest that into other things to grow further. But when you're starting out, you really shouldn't be having more than 3 to 4 big tasks to drive the success of your coaching business forward. If you're having like a million things on your to-do list for making money and generating leads and sales, I would hazard a guess and say if you try and do all of them, you're going to get distracted. You're going to do some of them good, some of them bad, but your reality is you're going to have no idea what works properly, and it's never going to kick off and never go off the ground, right? So, have that big to-do list, but then go back to it, circle around and get clear on 2 to 3 big things and no more that are going to drive the success for your coaching business forward. If you do that, you're going to have clarity, and because you have clarity, you can make money off the back of it much quicker and at a bigger scale as well. That's the second biggest lesson. Lesson number 3, and this one hit me so hard when I first heard it because it's something that I shied away from, and it's this: they are usually like obsessed. Like 9 times out of 10, most millionaires I've met, most people in the online space are just simply obsessed with this one thing. They are obsessed with attention. Ultimately, attention in the online space is a new currency. 20 years ago, 40 years ago, it wasn't attention. The biggest currency was money. The biggest currency was real estate. Like, that was the biggest thing that was allowing you to grow and succeed. In this new age, in this new currency, the people that have the most attention online and on social media are usually the people that can make the most amount of money. Obviously, you need to have a really sound offer, sales process, and lead generation on the back of this. But typically, if you look at a lot of the biggest owners in any industry, in any space right now, they usually have an incredible amount of attention at the top and on the front end of their social media. If you look at people that are not necessarily kind of great coaches or great business guys, but they have a phenomenal amount of attention. So if you look at some of the people on a really, really highest of pedestal when it comes to attention, you can look at The Rock. You can look at Cristiano Ronaldo. You can look at Kim Kardashian. Like, all of these influencers and coaches, not necessarily coaches, but all of these people have an insane amount of attention on the front end on social media, because they can grab so much attention. They can then monetize their products on the back end. So I know The Rock has the sauce, the hot sauce, or whatever it might be. I know Ronaldo selling the fasting programs or something like that. They have all of these different programs that they can then package, and products and services and programs and all of these things that they can just push at mass scale, because they have the eyes on the front end. At a smaller scale, when it comes to a coaching business, for the majority of our clients, before they join a program, this is one of their biggest things they don't have nailed yet in their business. They're very good coaches. They can deliver a really good program. They're not too bad at sales calls. When people speak to them, they can see their expertise. They can see their attention for detail. They can actually get results. But the issue, more often than not, for the clients before they join, is that they simply cannot get enough attention with their content on the front end. Once we fix that and we have Instagram content or YouTube content that's performing and pulling in a lot of attention of the right people, a lot of views, a lot of followers, it's so easy then to try and convert that following into sales, into clients for a coaching program. But more often than not, that doesn't happen, because people get distracted and try and fix problems that are not really real problems in their coaching business, like trying to improve their sales rates or trying to make the content look nicer. Like, all of these things are good to have, or building a website, like, by the way, massive distraction, but like, all of these things are nice to have. But the biggest reality is, if you're fixing the wrong if you're fixing a problem that's like a problem, like the right problem, but you're fixing it at the wrong time, you're ultimately still not going to drive the success forward. So really look at your audience right now. Look at your Instagram and ask yourself, are you genuinely getting enough new leads on the page? Are you getting enough followers? Are you getting enough new views on the content? Because if you're not, your business is ultimately going to stay stuck for a very long time until you fix that issue. If you need help fixing this issue when it comes to getting more attention, more views on your page, from myself, who's literally generating millions of views on my personal Instagram page and millions of views for my clients, that's then monetized into paying clients. If you just message me on Instagram saying audit, I can have a look at and see what you're doing and see how we can fix it as well. But anyway, getting sideswept here. The fourth biggest lesson and the fourth biggest thing I've learned from millionaires over the years is this, and my mentors, right, is that the biggest thing you need to obsess about is culture and movement over systems necessarily. And I'm not saying this that like systems are a bad thing. I put people here. I'm not saying that systems are a bad thing. All I am saying here is that if you have a really powerful movement, and if you're very people and person driven first when it comes to growing your coaching business, it's infinitely so much easier to get people to understand who you are, what you do, why you do it. But also when clients join your coaching program, they're much more likely to follow through with it. They're also going to stay longer in the program because they're going to have a community of people very similar to them. So if you just get obsessed on the people you want to work with, if you just get obsessed on the culture you want to create and what you want to change in the world and in the industry you're in the fitness industry or in the bodybuilding space or in a high rock space or whatever it might be, if you're very clear and you're very vocal about the things you like, the things you want to change, and who you are and what makes you different, and you obsess about the people in that space and you helping those people, and you talk about it and you're very vocal and clear about it, it's so much easier to stand out, and it's so much easier to build and grow a coaching business. For example, for me, I can give you powerful lessons on each one for me personally, right? So for example, the culture part, I had this from a team perspective. So for many of you, if you don't know, in the time of 2022, so about 3 years ago, I had quite a big team, quite big company. It's very different. It wasn't so much so like one-to-one consulting, coaching, the way it's delivered now. It's very much working with some very big influencers, fitness coaches in the space, some of the biggest brands, right? So we had a big team, and one of the biggest things I learned having a mentor at that time, and one thing he told me, is that the message is just so messy, right? I was trying to do everything. I was trying to work with the big guys, the small guys. I was trying to create like offers and products and problems that were trying to almost solve everything at once. The minute I learned that, the minute I said, okay, let's just fix one core problem, let's just be very clear on that, and let's just make sure the team, because at the time we had like 17 full-time employees in my business, let's just make sure everyone in the business was just fully brought in onto that one North Star. Let's get the culture right. And because we got the culture right, what we was then able to do is also fix almost like lesson 2 inadvertently as well, because lesson 2 in this is how important it is to have clear focus on just one thing. Because we fixed the focus, the culture and the clarity became so much easier, and then lo and behold, from that point on, we 2-3x the business in the next 6 months. So that's a really powerful lesson there in terms of just having clear focus and having clarity on exactly the people you want to work with and exactly what you want to be doing in terms of where you want to go with it. So this is almost what I've learned. I've realized a big thing for me personally, that no one actually told me this, by the way, just to summarize and finish on this video as well. But this is going to sound very controversial, but what I learned without any of these millionaires telling me is that they're no different to me. They're no special. They're no more special. They're not necessarily so much more clever. They're just a normal human being. They're literally like me, you and me, right? They breathe the same, they eat the same, they think the same. Maybe they think a little bit kind of differently. But what it made me realize is if they can do it, then so can I. And this is what made me kind of push on and realize how small I've been playing in terms of the potential of how much more you can be doing. So a big thing here as well, just to wrap up, is all of these guys you look up to, you idolize in a space you want to be, and you want to be like, and you want to live their life, whatever it might be. One powerful lesson is just to understand they're no different to you, and if you want to go after and you want to go after your dream, it's 100% physically doable. But a lot of the time it's your thoughts here that telling you you're not good enough, it's not possible, it's a scam, it's a myth, whatever it might be, that's holding you back from living that life. So just to recap on the 4 lessons: speed over perfection, clarity attracts money, 3 is that attention right now is the biggest, most valuable currency, and number 4, people and culture over systems, and that's what's going to grow and scale your coaching business. These are the exact 4 lessons that I took that completely transformed my mindset, my thinking, and added a 0 to my business in the last 10 years or so. So if you actually live by them, you wouldn't just grow, you quite literally dominate in your space, right? So take those and really drive and grow with a fast, aggressive speed in your coaching business. And if right now you're stuck and you want to be challenged in your way of thinking so you can grow and achieve the next level for your online fitness business, and you want to grow to your first 5, 6, 7K per month fully online in your coaching business, I'll leave a link below. You can apply to work with me directly, one-to-one, where you get my personal number, you jump on one-to-one calls with me, and we literally blow up your coaching business in the next 6 months. If you want to do that, there'll be a link below so you can apply to that.